GM everyone, thank you so much for joining us today for this very special episode of the Bybit Web3 livestream in collaboration with Blockchain for Good Alliance. So if everyone can hear me, can you please type GM in the live chat so that we know that everyone is here and that you can hear us? Can you please type GM in the live chat? I see I love Bybit. I see hi, GG, Bybit. All right, great. So I do see some GMs. So please continue to chat in the live stream. So a quick introduction about myself. My name is Yun Han. You can call me YH. I'll be the host for today's live stream. And I have over 8 years of experience in the space. I joined the crypto industry in 2017. Tried a lot of different things like DeFi, meme tokens, buying NFT, trying to be an NFT connoisseur, teaching blockchain. And just like a lot of you here, I'm also still trying to make it. So I'm very excited for today's live stream to learn from all the speakers about which track is going to make it, what can we do to really make it together. So what do you think? Do you think we will all make it? If you think we are going to make it, can you please type WAGMI in the chat? Or if you think we are not going to make it, feel free to type NGMI as well. Great. So with this, I also want to introduce the co-host for today's live stream, Emily Bao, who is the Web3 evangelist at Bybit Web3. So Emily, please feel free to introduce yourself and maybe also share some alpha to all our audience out there.
Okay. GM everyone, it's Emily here again. Maybe some of you already know me. Yeah, I'm Emily from Bybit, and I've been in this industry, crypto industry, for 6 years. And in this bull run, I'm gonna all in Bybit, all in Bybit Web3, because here we want to make Web3 fun, and we want to make you rich. And WAGMI.
Amazing. Yeah. So thank you so much, Emma. And
and recently just study memes. Yeah, I've been studying memes since December last year, starting with Wave, and now still like exploring and studying memes.
Amazing. So we have like a meme supporter here with Emily. And with this, in collaboration with Blockchain for Good, let me also quickly introduce Blockchain for Good Alliance, which is a non-profit collaborative initiative with key partners, and the key aim is to explore blockchain real-world use cases. So if you have a project or if you have a protocol that is interested to learn more and also join us as a partner to build a better Web3 world together and explore real-world use cases, feel free to join us at blockchainforgood.xyz to register, and also follow us on Twitter at chainforgood. Yeah, so this live stream is held in collaboration with Blockchain for Good, and we are very happy to be here today with some of our partners such as Bybit Web3, Solana, and also Aptos. Great. So with this, let's go into today's agenda and speaker. Today we have 3 teams who are going to, make it together with us. And today our goal is to see which track is going to be the winner, which track is going to make it. So with this, let's introduce the first team, Team Decentralized Finance, DeFi. We have Jonah Law, VP, Head of Portfolio at Animoca Brand. We also have Andrea Baglioni, Head of Capital, Solana Foundation. So let's get Jonah and Andrea to quickly introduce yourself and maybe also share some alpha to everyone out here.
Hey guys, Andrea, I'll go first, and then maybe you can hop in. But it's great to meet everyone here, and thanks Bybit for having us. Super excited to be here with all the legends today on the panel, and of course to be able to share the stage with my teammate Andrea. It's truly an honor. So I'm the head of portfolio at Animoca Brands, and I look after our 450 plus investment portfolio. So I have a pretty broad visibility into kind of what the current metas are and kind of broader market trends, just because of the work that I do day in, day out. So it's great to be here to be able to share more. I think the reason why I was so keen to kind of get on this panel and to share a bit more is because I think meme coins, GameFi, and NFTs fall exactly into our wheelhouse here at Animoca Brands. And I think like the narrative mindshare has definitely been dominated by meme coins and GameFi, I think, this year, in addition to the ETF. But Before we dive into that, I'll let Andrea maybe introduce himself a bit as well before I hog the stage too long.
No, for sure. Super excited to be here. I'm Andrea. I currently run the capital team at the Solana Foundation, which 90% of the time means grants. I have been doing this for about 3 years, but have generally been in crypto for close to 10 at this point. Super excited to have Jonah as my teammate. It's going to make this fairly easy. Super excited that DeFi is our topic because DeFi is for sure the most interesting. So yeah, super excited to be here, and yeah, excited to meet the other panelists too.
Amazing. Yes. Thank you so much, Andrea and Jonah. I think today's race will be a tough one because we have such strong teams. And with this, let's introduce the second team, which is Team Real World. So Team Real World, we have two distinguished speakers. One who is Philip, also known as Sustainable Clause, who is the principal researcher at McMaster Institute and at Conscious Land. And we also have Grover, the head of marketing at Say. So let's get Philip and Grover to quickly introduce themselves and also share some alpha about their track.
Sure, I'll jump in first. Yeah, hi everyone, great to be here. Thanks for having us. My name is Grover. I'm head of marketing at Say Foundation. I've been in crypto since 2017. Seen lots of very, very interesting projects come and go. And yeah, excited to get into a broader discussion here. Thanks.
Great. What about Sustainer Clause?
Well, Sustainer Clause is here, and it's WAGMI. It's we will make it. We will make it. And I'm so happy to be with these esteemed people of the blockchain because we're the real world team. And we want to bring the real world to the listeners and the viewers, and with a great discussion. Of course, there's real winners, and that's the people watching. So thanks. I'm from Conscious Land. Sustainer Clause is Conscious Land, and we have a project which is basically to make the world a happier, more sustainable place.
Thank you very much. So thanks, Philip. Looking forward to Team Real World as well. So we already have Team DeFi, Team Real World, and last but not least, we have the final team, which is Team Chain. So Team Chain, we have Jerome Ong, APEC Ecosystem Lead at Aptos, and also Joaquin Mendes Isaac, Head of Partnerships at Tyco. So Jerome and Joaquin, please feel free to introduce yourself and share some alpha about your track.
Cool, thank you. Thank you, Ihan. So yeah, my name is Jerome. I lead Asia ecosystem at the Aptos Foundation. So basically projects that are building in Asia or looking to grow in Asia essentially. Yeah, I think some info about Aptos. We are a layer 1, a high-performing layer 1 that is focused on all the verticals actually that we are talking about here. So there will be some overlaps. I think maybe some of the more unnoticed things that, or the newer things that have come up. We had 150 million transactions in a 24-hour window on the 25th of May. I think led by one of the kind of like tap to earn games on Aptos, and then there will be a little bit more that I can share later on as well. But yeah, happy to be here with the rest of the panelists. Joaquin?
Hey, thanks, Aaron. Thanks, everyone. First of all, I'd like to extend a warm gratitude to Bybit for organizing this session. It's really good to be here. I'm Joaquin. I'm leading partnerships for Tyco Labs. Been in crypto since I don't even remember, like 2018, something like that. Worked for Polygon Labs before Tyco Labs, and basically partnerships within Tyco, it means ecosystem growth. So Tyco is a layer 2, is a base rollup on top of Ethereum. We launched 2 weeks ago our mainnet, and yeah, happy to deep dive on the topics and the conversation today.
Amazing. So thank you so much, Joaquin and Jerome. So with this, since we have these 3 teams already, let's hear from our participants in the live chat as well. So just hearing the introduction, which team do you currently support? If you support Team DeFi, can you type DeFi? If you support Team Chain, type Chain. If you support Team Real World Use Case, type Team Real. Let's just have a look at the live chat. So Team Real, Team Chain, Team DeFi. All right, maybe it's too early to show your support, but don't worry, because later on we do have 4 rounds of debate where we will get each team to pit against each other and really to find out which team will win this WAGMI race. So before we begin, we just want to also share about the giveaway that is going on. So today we are giving away 5,555 in reward. So in order to participate in this, remember to log in into your Bybit account and refer to the instruction below to participate in the giveaway. Of course, if you want to pump it up together and make it together, we encourage you to invite all your friends to join us in this live stream, because if we hit 15,000 views during this live stream, we will up the price to $7,777. All right, so please feel free to maybe take a few seconds right now, share this live stream with your friends, click on the share button to share it on social media, invite more people together, because that is the essence of the Web3 community. If we want to make it, how can we make it? We need to make it together. So please share this live stream so that we can hit our 7,777 prize pool. Great. So with this, let's begin. Before we begin, let me quickly also share about this agenda for this Web3 race. So we will have 4 rounds. So for each round, we will get the different teams to really share their opinions and view. And maybe for the participants in the live chat, feel free to give your input as well, and also vote for your favorite team. And to summarize and wrap up this live stream, then maybe we will have a final voting in a live chat for everyone to see who is the current winner. Is it Team DeFi, Team Chain, or Team Real World? All right, so is everyone ready? If you are ready, can I have a WAGMI in the live chat, please? Please type WAGMI. All right, I see that most of you are ready, but before we also share this, maybe we also have something to share from Bybit Web3, because the milestone of 7,777 prize pool is not just about it today, because today we are also celebrating a special Bybit Web3 milestone. So before we jump into the discussion for today, Emily, maybe you can help to share about this special milestone that Bybit Web3 is achieving.
Okay. So I can be very straightforward. So Bybit Web3 wallet, we just hit 10 million wallets. Yeah. So maybe someone of you already know Bybit Web3 is not a new wallet. We kind of like roll out the Bybit Web3 wallet last year. But from October last year, we did a lot of revamp around the Bybit Web3 wallet. So previously, we only have the custodial wallet, which is the cloud wallet. And now we have cloud wallet and also the other self-custody wallets, MPC wallet and City Freeze wallet. And now within 6 months time, we hit 10 million wallets. Yay. Thank you so much for your support. Yeah, and of course there's other milestones, but I'm gonna share it later. Yeah.
Amazing. So let's congrats Bybit on their 10 million supporter as well. And of course, since Bybit Web3 is already, making it, so let's make it today on this live stream as well. So I invite everyone here right now to share this live stream with your friends, to get them all to join so that we can make it better together and expand our live stream price pool from 5,555 to 7,777. If we hit 15,000 users, 15,000 live view and above. All right, so let's make it our goal today to hit this for this live stream. Great, so now let's move on to this meat of the WAGMI race, which is where we get all our guests to share their perspective and hear from their insights so that we can all make it together. So I still remember, Web3 used to be very basic. A few years ago, maybe it's more about crypto kitties, decentralized finance wasn't so hot. And look how much we have moved forward. Now we have on-chain analytics. Now we have decentralized finance, liquidity staking. We have non-fungible tokens. We have so many things like real-world assets as well. So even just to look at the general milestone of Web3, we have achieved already so much. So now let's get our guest today to fight it out, to see which team is the ultimate winner. Is it Team DeFi? Is it Team Chain? Or is it Team Real World? So round one, let's start. Web3 is all about narratives, right? So can all the team here, maybe one by one, can you share 3 latest alpha from your track? What is the 3 hot topic currently in your track? Let's start with Team DeFi.
Go for it, John.
Andrea, do you want to go first, Andrea?
Sure. We were gonna give an overview of the narratives we think are important, and then share three topics that we think are good. I think a lot of the mind share early on was dominated by the ETF this year, and with potential of ETH ETF and whatnot, that institutional sort of involvement in crypto and DeFi is coming back. The other obvious trends we're seeing right now, meme coins, AI, and we'll talk a lot about these, especially how they relate to sort of the cultural involvement. And NFTs have had sort of a mixed experience, but still as part of crypto culture are super important to what makes these communities thrive. I think we've seen a couple sort of new ideas pop up on Solana, for example. There's something called Drip House that has zeroed out sort of the cost of NFTs and focused really on distribution. We've seen Ordinals sort of NFT explosion, and also NFTs add a lot more utility to stuff. So I'll let Jonah go through maybe some of the headlines that we've seen, but high level, that's the narrative we're paying attention to.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a couple of key headlines here. So I think for us, one of the key standouts has of course been the explosion in meme coins, right? Over the past couple of months. Really, this started, I would say, probably late last year with the launch of Base. There were unfortunately some rug pulls over there, but with coins like Bald and whatnot, and I think like kickstarted the whole meme narrative a little bit. And but fast forward to today, right? We're now seeing over 1 million meme coins launched in a month. It's over 23,000 a day on Solana, and it's about half of that in the EVM ecosystem, right? Mostly based in Base. And I mean, I think a huge part of this was driven by meme coin launchpads like Pump.Fun, right? Now, I think making over $1 million in fees daily now. So that's just absolutely staggering in terms of the volume that we're seeing in the interest in both the creation of these new assets, but also the participation from retail. And of course, off the back of that, right, I think the current latest headline would be the Mother meme token with Iggy Azalea coming in, and of course, along with other celebrities like Jenner and whatnot, who are now really kind of piling into this celebrity token meta, right? So I think Iggy herself announced that the Mother token can now be used to buy phones. They can be used to buy merch on her merch store, and we're seeing quite a lot of this new retail celebrity mindshare coming in as well into meme coins. Now, having said that, there are negatives, right? Of course, Vitalik himself has said, hey, we should be really careful against with these types of celebrity experiments, and there's pretty much no censorship here. People are launching all sorts of very, very questionable coins, with hints of racism, and other, I guess, undesirable kind of narratives, right? So, these are all things we still need to be careful about, but that is not to take away from like actually how exciting this space currently is, right? So, Andrea also mentioned just now, institutions, right? I think that's a huge narrative within the DeFi space this cycle with the interest around ETFs. We had the Bitcoin ETF earlier this year. The ETH ETF is coming in the next couple of months. So, everybody's really waiting for that narrative to really pick up and for those inflows to come in from the ETH side as well. Now, finally, right, play to earn, it's making a comeback for sure. I mean, in Q1 earlier this year, we had GameFi tokens like Pixels hitting the 3 billion FDV mark, right? That's the kind of last all-time high. And at Animoca Brands, like we're seeing quite a lot of these, of course, GameFi projects come through our pipeline, and we have to say we're still super bullish on GameFi as a sector in general. Like just to throw a couple of stats out there. Blockchain gamers have actually increased by 83%. Right now, that number currently stands at around 90 million users. Now, of course, a lot of that is probably botted, right? That's just how the space goes. But that number alone is kind of a proxy metric into how big the space is and how much retail interest there actually is in GameFi, right? So there are also other market movements like prominent funds like A16Z raising 600 million, Bitcraft raising almost 280 million, and the Arbitrum DAO, of course, passing a proposal for over 200 million to support gaming projects, right? So these are all very, very positive developments we feel in the GameFi sector, and really it just shows like there's a lot more room to go, and the GameFi sector definitely has a lot of legs, right? So very bullish on this space as well. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up kind of the key headlines for our narrative.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jonel. Thank you so much, Andrea, for the sharing. And just a recap for those audience that just joined us. Currently, we are doing something we call the WAGMI race, where we get 3 teams, both championing a specific cause to share their insights and alpha on what do you think they will make it in this space. So Jonna and also Andrea just summarized some key narratives in the decentralized finance space. And what they shared was more on GameFi, play to earn, meme tokens. And what is the last one actually? GameFi, meme tokens, and ETF. Yes,
we talked
and ETFs,
institutional interest.
Yes, so institutional adoption as well. So these are some of the alpha that made headlines for DeFi. And with this, let's also hear from the 2 other teams. But before I move on, I just want to remind you that we do have a giveaway going on, and please help us to reach the goal together and make it together. So invite all your friends to join us. Press the share button so that we can win the 7,777 prize pool if we hit 15,000 viewers by the end of this live stream. So we are counting on you to win this prize pool as well. Great. So with this, let's also hear from the other team. And next team, let's hear from Team Real World, which is headed by Philip and Grover from SAY.
Well, thank you very much. Team Real World, as you know, is we are going to make it. So the real world is the blockchain for alliance support, right? And that's the whole world, not just the crypto crowd, as we have been for so many years now, almost 10 years. I myself am kind of an OG. I've been in it since 2013, since it was blockchain for banking, the unbanked. Now it's a completely different picture, as Jonah and Andreas have already pointed out. The world of banking and so on has really dominated. The centralization of the institutionalization of blockchain and coins it's good, yes, of course, because it's the adoption and it's the recognition for the newbies and the people who wouldn't like the Bitcoin or other coins. But one of the challenges is we still need to look after the adoption, the greater world, the real world, the people who are not knowledgeable about cryptocurrencies and blockchain. And so this is why I'd like Grover maybe to expand on our team's headlines, which are mostly about real world assets.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, Sustainer Clause and I have been given free rein to talk about quite a wide range of things. So I guess we touched on some of this already. Probably the largest headlines in the specific sector of, like real world assets and decentralized physical infrastructure, all this beautiful stuff, is probably BlackRock launching a tokenized real world asset fund on Ethereum back in March. So in theory, that kind of means you can convert the rights of a wide variety of assets, from bonds and equity and to real estate, cultural assets, into blockchain-based digital tokens. So you're bridging the gap between crypto and the real world. So yeah, if you have tokenized representations of things that people might actually want to exchange or prove ownership of, then you end up creating these new markets and just like changing sort of how people exchange around the world, which is very interesting. And then obviously the other major announcement from the previous 6 months is the launch of the ETFs. So Bitcoin ETFs, and then the upcoming potential upcoming Ethereum ETFs, which just gives like a regulated route for people to get exposure to crypto as an investment. So yeah, while this is a big deal in terms of signaling further adoption of crypto in the mainstream and by institutions, Sustainer Clause and I think that crypto can have a more direct and immediate impact to people's lives. There are a lot of people that will say that the only use case for crypto is some kind of financial nihilism, right? People using it as an unstoppable casino to escape like difficult economic conditions wherever they are, gambling on meme coins and that kind of thing. But I think that there's some more interesting real world impacts that can be made with crypto, and that's what we want to talk about today as well. Cheers.
Cheers, amazing. So thank you so much, Grover and Sustainer Clause, for the sharing. And I think we do have some questions from the audience as well. So RON asks, what real world use cases other than staking and Mimi, which I think Grover addressed some. So, but maybe Grover and Philip, feel free to share more examples of some real world use cases of blockchain, which is also what we are trying to champion at Blockchain for Good as well, because we want to encourage builders to build for social impact. So maybe back to you, Grover and Philip, any more examples that you can share regarding real world use cases?
Yeah, well, I think there are real world use cases for NFTs. There are social uses like admission to certain concerts and public events or even private events where the NFTs and the cryptos are used as a passport. This is a good thing. There's also a lot of, there's a lot of effort in the area of transport, blockchain, the tracking of goods and so on through use of cryptocurrencies and NFTs and so on. Also, there's the real estate effort, of the property issue becoming digitized as in real world assets. Even I've been approached by some people, wanting to digitize watches and other things. So yeah, there are some efforts in this area, but I think there's a lot more creativity. And of course, I hope to speak about what we're doing in Conscience Land about this issue later on. Grover, what other things that we got to talk about? Real world.
So there's a sector, a vertical called DePIN, decentralized physical infrastructure, which is still pretty early, but this is very, very interesting. It's the best way to like an Airbnb for GPUs is, I think, the most obvious one. So right now, with the rise of AI, there's a lot of demand for GPU hours around the world for a bunch of different use cases. So now you can actually create a market. You can actually create a decentralized infrastructure for renting out your computer or you're imagining a home computer or your data center, and you can create like an economy for that, like a token incentive mechanism for people to want to rent out that GPU power to someone. So like this kind of thing, it applies for storage as well, even like road mapping projects, which is quite interesting, sort of disrupting real industries and things that people like Google are doing right now with decentralized alternatives, which is really cool. So we can talk about that too.
Yeah, I just want to add in there that the real world is not about only online, right? It's also about offline. So this is, as Grover brings up about DPIN, I guess gave you a lecture at HKU recently about the decentralized physical infrastructure networks. And this is the real world. And this is going to affect people who are not even knowledgeable about blockchain or knowledgeable about cryptocurrency. And that's where we want to see this go, that it's completely background. It's not a thing anymore that people have to learn about.
Yeah, totally agree. So I think like Sustainer Clause and Grover shared some really great example of real world. And as you know, Web3 is still pretty new. So we are still in the midst of exploring more about real world. And if you are keen to also join us in our mission to, advance the real world use case of blockchain, feel free to visit blockchainforgood.xyz to learn more and also to sign up and join us as a partner. Great. So thank you so much, Team Real World, for the sharing. And with this, let's go to Team Chain, which is led by Jerome and also Joaquin.
Sure, I can go first. Yeah, I think three kind of like big narratives that we've really seen over the course of this year. Some of the panelists here we've kind of mentioned, right? Regulation being one of them. You have the ETFs being part of it. You have real world assets or institutions starting to look at it, which helps to push the regulatory angle. I think on the Apple side, we have made serious strides as well on this. I think last week, Mo was appointed to the subcommittee for digital assets of the CFTC in the US. Apple's Labs also participated in the securitized fund raise by BlackRock. So I think we can expect to see some more progress here, right? I think for Aptos and for all the blockchain industry. Second one, I think similarly, the panelists also kind of mentioned meme coins. I think that's where all the retail activity are at. You can't think about Web3 today without meme coins, right? Solana obviously has done pretty well on it, and some of the other chains as well base. On Aptos, I think what we have seen a little bit closer is more around, like, we have GUI, which is a original like OG community token. And you have another one called Aptos, right? UPTOS, which was a play on the word Aptos. But it's also hilariously funny, and it's like a new growing ecosystem of community. So how this kind of like coexists with like the regulatory framework that we talked about and the real institutional capital, but also these coins and building their own community, and how they kind of like figure their way through the blockchain. Through their own user base, and how do they keep their user engaged, right? Mother, like what Jonah mentioned, is a great example, I think. And I think the last one, just keeping true to our vertical, is chains, right? Just amongst the panelists here, we have quite a number of chains, and I think if you look at the past couple of months and even last few days, I think new chains are launching every day, right? Layer 1s, layer 2s. Now you start to have layer 3s. You start to have a lot of app chains. Friendtech launching their own chain. Some of the different apps, thinking about, what if I build my own chain, right? I think my own thesis is that there shouldn't be a need for a lot of these, for a lot of chains to exist. End of the day, there will be some consolidation, I believe. And it goes back to like which is the most performant with the strongest stack and the strongest communities, right? So yep, that's the three big narratives from.
Great.
Okay,
So I see so Joaquin, yes, feel free to add on.
Yeah, I will start with the last point mentioned by Jerome. All this, I think, one of the main waves of the past 6 months on the chains narrative is all these stacks competition. So I'm talking about like OP stack, Polygon CDKs, CDK Sync hyperchains, base rollups. All these different like ecosystem are kind of like striving to become like the default choice for other chains to build upon and make like all the ecosystem interoperable. So I think this competition has become more fierce during the last months. And my personal opinion here is that the winner is likely going to be the base rollups, which basically means that transactions are sequenced by Ethereum, because instead of trusting any other layer 2 to sequence your transactions, you're trusting like the most secure and credibly neutral chain that exists, which is Ethereum. And I think yeah, because Tycho's on the Ethereum space, one of the other most important catches of the last months, I would say, is the consolidation of the rollup centric roadmap of Ethereum, and we have seen it with many improvements that the chain has done. Like, for example, the EIP for the prototype sharding, which is not only great because it's a great advancement for rollups per se, but it's also the statement that's behind it, right? Like Ethereum, even the foundation is encouraging users and to basically use layer 2 instead of layer 1. So it really consolidates this roadmap.
Great. So thank you so much, Joaquin, and thank you, Jerome, for the sharing. I do see, like, even though we have different teams, some of you also mentioned similar things, like, you know, the institutional adoption, the ETF as well. So maybe we are not really competing against each other, but, you know, as blockchain, we are collaborating, and instead of treating this as a race, maybe it could be a collaborative effort. So let's hear from the audience as well. So for round 1, who do you think is currently in the lead? Is it Team Chain, Team DeFi, or Team Real World? Can you please type in the chat? Who do you currently support? So feel free to add on if you have anything to add, like Sustainer Clause, Jonah, Joaquin.
Well, I just want to say that I agree with you that this is more of a collaborative effort. We are all working in the same industry, essentially, but some are more technically oriented in terms of what's the back end of this, and some of us are more, how are we connecting with the greater world, all the people that will all win. So I agree with you on that.
Great. So right now on the live chat, I do see more Team Real World. So it seems that Team Real World is currently leading. So congrats, Sustainer Clause and Grover. But like what Sustainer Clause mentioned, actually we are all, like, you know, aligned and collaborative. So it doesn't mean one that means the rest is losing. Yeah. So I think it's great as well. So great. So with this, since Team Real World seems to be leading the first round, let's go to the second round, and maybe Team Chain and Team DeFi can, you know, get to share what they think as well to make this better. All right, so that we can WAGMI together. So with this, let's go to round 2. Maybe each team, you have 3 minutes as a team each to persuade us with your most compelling argument. Why should we support your team instead of the other team? So maybe let's start with Team Real World, since you led for the previous round, and then Team Chain, and then Team DeFi. So Team Real World, 3 minutes to pitch your team.
Okay, well, let's use the 3 minutes effectively. Grover and I will both speak at the same time. We'll interrupt each other. I feel that the real world argument is the argument. All the teams are contributing greatly, but the real world aspect of how do we communicate with the average person? You know, there's so much scammy, hypey stuff in blockchain and in crypto that I think it turns off a lot of the world. They don't understand the technicalities. They don't understand the chains. They don't understand DeFi. So let's make it very understandable. Let us unite as the blockchain on-ramp, as blockchain for good, and let's communicate how people can be richer, how people, I don't only mean money, I mean friendship, connections, getting offline into the real world and finding a date or making money or getting a job or, you know, paying your bills. These are the things, and healing the earth itself, right? Dealing with the big 3, climate change, economic collapse, and social discordance, right? So I think that's the argument for the real world team, is that I've been working for almost 10 years on this exact issue. How do we get more adoption around the world in all cultures, in all socioeconomic groups, on a decentralized world? Grover.
Yeah, and I guess, yeah, to Sustainer Clause's point there, maybe one very specific and targeted example is we talked about banking the unbanked as being something that's very real and something that we used to talk about quite a lot in crypto, but less and less so over time. So yeah, it's this idea kind of stretches to a huge number of benefits for people around the world that we take for granted. Many of us on this call, access to the dollar for people who live in developing countries with less favorable local currencies, providing people with reliable payment systems that settle very or nearly instantly, and allowing payments and transfers to be sent to anyone around the world with an internet connection in just a few seconds. So that creates this crazy leveling effect between different societies and economies, particularly when these people can escape really highly inflationary or devalued currencies at home. So yeah, this is something so the largest real world asset in the world is USDC right now. This is a token that's backed by liquid cash and cash equivalent assets, which unlocks all those things I just mentioned. So, I've already spoken with a bunch of different groups from all walks of life and continents, and these people are very, very happy to escape just at a bare minimum their local currencies. That's a symptom of a bigger problem, which is discussed another day. So yeah, I think this kind of thinking has been lost overall in the current meta, but we shouldn't forget about these kind of the reasons to be excited about crypto in the first place, and not just, like I said, sort of resign ourselves to unstoppable casino is the core use case. So yeah, I think that's the TLDR for me.
Yeah, and if we got a few seconds left, the real world part of it, at least from our standpoint in conscience land, are the ability for people to use digital currencies, use digital products to heal the earth, like to take the Gaia plots and look after them and be rewarded for that looking after of that digital property. So it's an overlay. What we're all creating is an overlay to the existing system, which is falling apart. So let's utilize that even in the property side, which is the 57 trillion 3 meter by 3 meter plots around the world that cover the earth. Let's take responsibility for those things and be rewarded. We heal those three problems: society, environment, and economy. We've checked that out, and that's why real world is the winning way.
Amazing, a great pitch. So thank you so much, Sustainable Claus and Grover. So with this, let's hear from the next team, Team Chain. So Team Chain, you have 3 minutes to pitch your racetrack to the rest. So why will you make it with Team Chain?
Maybe I can start this time, Jerome. I think let's turn the tables, right? When next time YH asks in the chat, I want to see people cheering for Team Chains. So as part of the Team Chains, let me make this very clear. The blockchain, the chains, are the building blocks for everything else in Web3. So without the chains, the rest have just zero chances of existing, at least the way it is designed today. So within the world of Web3, betting on chains as a broad category, it's betting on a winning horse, like 100%. If chains don't work, nothing else works. So all these advancements in infrastructure, in the chains, are really the ones that are helping abstract the blockchain, like make it more scalable, in essence, make the blockchain invisible. If the infrastructure itself doesn't evolve and make the blockchain user friendly, there couldn't be any DeFi, there couldn't be any real world. There's nothing. So let's cheer up for chains. Maybe Jerome, but up to you.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that was exactly what I was gonna echo as well, right? I think, like you said, blockchain. It's literally in the word itself. It needs to be there, right? And without that, there is nothing else. I think a lot of it is also, focused on, what has been. But I think let's also kind of look at what will be. If you look at since 2017 till now, I think there's been a lot of improvements and innovation, even on the blockchain infrastructure itself. We start talking about the blockchain trilemma, which today less people are feel that it's as relevant. And I think there will be continued improvements in the blockchain space, right, in the infrastructure space. I think that's what a lot of us here are here to do as well, to figure out the base layer infrastructure, make it work, make things that were not possible 6 months ago possible 6 months later, right? So that's what we are about.
Fantastic. So thank you so much, Jerome and Joachim, for the sharing. I think Team Chain has a very, very compelling argument as well, because like what they mentioned, without the blockchain, how can you even build the use cases? So pretty interesting point. So last but not least, we also have Team DeFi. So Team DeFi, 3 minutes pitch.
All right, yeah, I'll dive right into it. So I mean, I don't disagree with all the other panelists, right? I think this isn't a zero-sum kind of argument. It's not zero-sum at all, right? And I think all three narratives have to essentially work in unison, right, to create something compelling for the average retail consumer, average retail investor. Now, having said that, right, I think it really depends on, you know, as investors, right, we all need to look at things in terms of investment time horizon, as well as, you know, where we are actually on the technology adoption curve. I still think we're in the pretty early stages, right? So there's a time and place for everything. Now, from Team DeFi's perspective, right, we think games, meme coins, and NFTs are the path towards the heart of the regular retail consumer, right? It's what has been and what always will be, I think, right? So a couple of points here that I wanted to point out. I mean, through meme coins, right? This is essentially a gateway to retail interest in crypto. Over the last quarter, memes have pretty much outperformed all other narratives because that's just ultimately where the retail mindshare is. Retail is voting with their dollars, they're voting with their attention on what they want to participate in. And meme coins are just fun. They're entertaining, right? And there's drama, there's adrenaline. All right. So I think it's very, very clear in the way that the market is telling us, what the data is telling us, right? That, you know, meme coins, things that are fun, are appealing to the mainstream. Now, the second point that I will add is that memes are already in the mainstream, right? Meme coins are essentially, you know, if you think about it, people are crossing over into Web3 from TradFi through things like Wall Street Bets, GameStop. Robinhood just acquired Bitstamp, right? And I think, you know, with the whole, you know, all the meme stocks that we're seeing now, right? It's only a matter of time before a huge portion of retail crosses over and says, hey, like maybe there's a better way to trade in memes, right? Maybe meme coins are the way. And finally, I will say that everything really starts out as a meme. And this kind of goes back every single cycle. And as investors, it's important to look back in history to see how people have behaved in the past, because the past is a way to project the future, right? Meme coins are no different to ICOs back in 2017 and NFTs in 2021, right? Fundamentally, they're the same thing. It's just things that are fun and that people want to speculate on, right? People want to gamble, it's fun. So even Bitcoin, I would argue, started out as a meme, right? So the moment everyone starts to understand that everything starts out as a meme, I think your mind as an investor kind of unlocks, right? And you start seeing all the possibilities. But Andrea, I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, I think that was super well put. And I thank all the other contestants for their points. I'll just say that the way I see it is that everything else people talked about is effectively an argument for DeFi, right? DeFi is crypto. Every transaction, every action that happens on a blockchain is a transaction, right? You're accessing a global financial system. And that's the beauty of DeFi and sort of this financial system on the blockchain, is that it's unrestricted, it's open to anyone, right? So in the future, we'll likely see like having a crypto wallet as like as essential as basically having an email account today, because it will allow two parties from any part of the world to exchange something, right? That could be a token, that could be a picture, that could be really any sort of digital asset. And that is a future that you really want to be interested in and be a part of. The other cool thing is that a lot of this is sort of open source and automatic, so you don't have to trust anybody. Some of us live in countries where, you know, generally we can trust the financial system, and some of us don't. And so DeFi sort of gives you this opportunity to really be on the same playing field, same level as everyone else sort of in the world. And this is sort of a new concept and something that I think is really an exciting part of crypto and blockchain. And I think DeFi, is really for everyone. You can play it safe. You can sort of look at stable coins. You can sort of look at that sort of yield aspect. But if you want to be a degen, there's space for you too, and everything in between. You'll certainly find a lot of other people who feel the same way about you. The other couple of things I'll finish with is DeFi is solving real issues, right? There is DeFi, but there's also decentralized finance that tackles climate change, right? ReFi. There's these decentralized finance systems that tackle science, like decentralized science. There's DeSci. You do global remittances. It really covers the broad spectrum. And so you should care about DeFi because it is ubiquitous. It is all over. It is giving access to everybody, leveling the playing field. And like Jonah said, it's fun. Ultimately, it's fun. And that's a big part of where we're at right now. So yeah, DeFi is the play.
Great. DeFi is the play. So thank you so much, Jonah. Thank you so much, Andre, for sharing. Yeah, so I think very, very compelling arguments as well. So also curious to hear from the other chains, what else would you support other than your current track? So, but before we move on to that, let me just quickly check our current live stream view. We have over 7.2 thousand viewers. So we are very, very close to hitting our 15,000 viewers. So if you want to make it together, increase our price pool from 5,555 to 7,777. Please, right now, share this live stream with your friends and let's pump it up to over 15,000 so that we can make it better together. All right. So with this, round 3. So with round 2, the different tracks representative shared about why is their track compelling. So with round 3, let's also get the different track to share about what they find compelling about the other track. Which other track would they personally support? So feel free to also share your personal experience in this crypto space as well to come up with your new perspective. Yeah, so maybe I'll open the floor to all our speakers. Feel free to unmute yourself and share about what other track would you support apart from your current one and why. Maybe share some stories of your experience will be great.
Maybe I can start. I think it's really hard for me to stick to just one of the others. I think both DeFi and real world assets are actually great. But I guess if the question is for this year, I would stick to DeFi because I think real world assets is going to be a huge gateway for mass adoption, but in the longer term. So on the DeFi side, there's so much beauty within DeFi as a new paradigm for of finance. Like there's so much opportunities for the people that actually know how to seek them, and it's actually common sense. Instead of sharing like the obvious that everyone knows, I would like to stick to personal experiences. I have like so many to share, but I want to stick to the most recent one. As you probably know, Tyco recently launched their mainnet. And we did a Genesis airdrop, and it's pretty obvious that after an airdrop, there's so many opportunities available in the DeFi space. Like for example, there's a new ecosystem, there's new DEXs, decentralized exchanges. There's probably not much liquidity in the pools because this is still the beginning. So people are trying to do some profit just from the airdrop that they just claimed. So there's high volume in swaps. So I can share that one of these DEXs was giving like 20% APR for providing liquidity into a liquidity pool. Like 20% APR is like, where do you find that? That's only DeFi. And I was trying to explain the beauty of this to my girlfriend who has nothing to do with crypto. And the best way that I came up with to actually explain the beauty of this new paradigm was basically by using a very easy example that any non-crypto native would understand. Like, and I use a mortgage as an example. Like, how much are we paying banks for their lending us to buy a house? Is it like 1%, 2%, 3% interest rate? And oh my God, you know the KYC that they do. They almost ask you for like like your blood type in order to give you the money. But with DeFi, actually, with this example, right, with this liquidity pool, people were getting a 20% return, which is obviously much more, just by letting people that they don't know and they don't want to know, maybe someone from Nigeria, from Canada, from Hong Kong, who cares? They are like letting them take the money from this liquidity pool, replace that money with the other pair, and overall get paid a 20% return. And I think it's crazy. I think what this technology unlocks it still blows my mind every time I think about it. So I would stick to DeFi on this side.
Cool. So we have a representative from Team Chain who goes for Team DeFi. So maybe let's have someone from Team DeFi to share which other track would you personally support.
I'm happy to jump in quickly. Generally, I would support whatever argument Sustainaclaus makes. I'm a big Sustainaclaus fan. But maybe to that point, the track that I would support, if not DeFi, would be real world assets. I work at the Solana Foundation. I see a lot of interest in DePIN activities, like Grover talked about. We're seeing a lot of like real world use cases happen. There's Teleport that is like an Uber, but on chain that costs less and is sort of more decentralized. There is Helium, right, that actually allows you to have a real cheaper phone plan anywhere in Miami right now, for example. And there's things like HiveMapper, right, that is competing with Google Maps. And you know, these companies, these projects are leveraging the blockchain and tokens to like really solve problems in the world today. And I think that is super exciting. So if not DeFi, I understand the value of the blockchain existing. So Team Chain, I see you. But real world assets to me is the most interesting and potentially sort of, you know, promising track besides DeFi.
Great, thanks, Andrea. So pretty interesting. And with that, let's hear from Team Real World. Which other track will you personally support? Maybe either Sustainaclaus or Grover you want to share?
Go ahead, Grover.
I'll let you take this one, sir. Oh,
okay.
Go on.
Okay. I support, of course, both. Why? Because you're both part of the real world. It's just a case of long-term versus short-term, right? Ken has very eloquently pointed out that this structural thing is super important, that we have this in the real world right now, in the short term. But you know, chains will change, and the competition for the primary chain, I think it's kind of over. I think that it's just a multi-chain world. But I'm certainly supportive in the short term, of course, because that's how we're building the infrastructure. And from the DeFi point of view, again, of course, because that is the success. The challenge, as I mentioned before, is that, or we mentioned before, is that the like the ETFs and so on, that has centralized. That's gotten, sure, it's made it easier for crypto companies to be regulated, et cetera, know the rules, but it's also taken the steam away from independence from that system. So that's one of the challenges that DeFi is actually helping in the long term. Short term, for sure, it's making money for people right now, wherever they are in the world, but they have to have a technical knowledge to make that happen. So my personal, and Grover may disagree with me, but my personal is both sides, of course, of support. And I think that it's a case of the people who are voting, the real world people, the people out there. It's your future. How do you see in the short term different blockchains and different DeFi protocols being a benefit to you, and and then long term, what is your thoughts? Grover, what's your thought?
Lots of things. Yeah, I guess what's interesting. So, like on the we talk about meme coins quite a bit today. I think they're really cool, like as a rejection of authority, right? Like it's almost like we reject the traditional investment routes for crypto. We actually want to do something else completely, and there's something actually very crypto about that. However, I do think the end game for 99% of these memes is probably going straight to zero. So, right, this is something that a casual user is probably not going to compete with the robots with right now on chain as well. So just like, I don't know, I don't want to be the word of caution, but that is for sure something to consider. So, I mean, meme coins are very, very interesting. I also think like DeFi, when you hear things like 20K% APY, I'd be super cautious about like, where is that yield coming from? If you don't know where the yield's coming from, you are the yield. So I think DeFi is definitely interesting. There's definitely a ton of potential, but I think there's a few things that I would be a little wary of if I'm just a user coming into this. And on the other hand as well, I think infrastructure has a ton of investment in already. But if this is something that's essential to crypto, is essential to making sure that more and more people can actually access and use these applications and these use cases in the first place, you need to have scalable infrastructure in the first place. So that's pretty clear to me. So yeah, I think that's just a few thoughts about what the guys are talking about here. Overall, these are all, I think there's an analogy where there's different parts of the elephant and we're all talking about the trunk and the leg and talking about the same animal. Crypto is kind of one thing. So yeah, you can't have one of these tracks without the other two existing too. So yeah.
Great. So thank you so much, Grover and Sustainer Claus, for sharing. I think it's pretty funny because we envision this to be like a fiery debate, like a Web3 WAGMI race, but it seems more like a relay now that we talk about it. Everyone is so collaborative, and then instead of fighting each other, it feels like we are collaborating. But I kind of like how this is going as well. So what about the audience? What do you think? Who do you think is currently winning this race, or are we going to turn it into a relay, which I personally think so. Yeah, so feel free to share more as well for the speakers. Feel free to debate more. But of course, if you think actually we are all tackling the same issue, feel free to make it more collaborative as well. Great. So with this, let's see. All right, last round. So this is the last round for this debate. So the last round, we have an analogy for you. So it's more of like fast forward to 7 years ahead. So 7 years later, we will all be old. But other than that, what would an average grandma use blockchain for? What do you think? And how would it benefit her daily life? Maybe you can paint us a picture of the future. How will blockchain be like 7 years from now? Like, people who don't know blockchain, like grandmas, how do you think blockchain will enable her life to be better? So I will open the floor. Feel free to share your thoughts.
I can jump in here first. Yeah. So if I'm thinking about a grandma in 7 years, then I'm pretty much thinking about my mom, right? Because she's kind of getting up to that point where she's going to be a grandma probably in a couple of years' time. And I mean, if I'm just thinking about how she reasons through new technology, right? It's pretty slow. I'm not gonna lie, right? 7 years is not a lot of time for someone to really come to terms with new technology. And I think if like the iPhone sort of like mobile apps, right? That's kind of a good benchmark to kind of compare my mom against. Then like, to be honest, I don't think she's gonna make it that far to understand all of the intricacies of all the new technology that we've been talking about today, in just 7 years. And I think that's okay, right? I think there are certain use cases that we've already kind of that we're already developing, that are already in the real world, right? That she can easily understand in 7 years' time. For instance, right? I think stable coins, right, would be something that she could immediately get behind, as long as we're getting widespread enough adoption, right, and that stable coins are actually accepted by merchants to do daily things like grocery shopping, right? So I mean, stable coins right now already have found a use case, right? I mean, $14 trillion being settled on chain so far, and stable coins are already finding like pretty widespread adoption. I would say like stablecoins have already proven themselves to be the ultimate kind of like RWA and like killer app for blockchains, right? So I would say in 7 years' time, if my mom actually got into crypto and got into blockchain, she would probably be using stablecoins. She'd be using it to buy groceries. She'd be using it to like earn extra yield on her idle assets, right? So yeah, I definitely see that being something that she would do. And I mean, like the broader narrative around this, right, is I think RWAs, real world assets in general. I think like there's definitely a case to be made for physical collectibles and physical assets being kind of minted and represented on chain, because it fundamentally improves the experience, right, of trading these assets, improving provenance and ownership. It makes things just so much more efficient, streamlines the entire process, and the user experience is so much better. Right. So I would say RWAs, stable coins, these are all things that I think someone like my mom, who's going to be a grandmother in a couple of years' time, could definitely get behind.
Cool, I agree as well. And I think maybe 7 years later, maybe stable coins won't be called stable coins. It could be just, digital currency or payment tokens. Yeah, so looking forward as well. I think 7 years later, maybe we will be the potential grandma. Yeah, so looking forward to future innovations in this space. What about the rest? What do you think?
I can chime in a little bit here, I guess. I think maybe in an alternate universe, I don't know if meme coins will be traded by grandmas in 7 years. Maybe to start with that. But I think the reality of it is that the real use case is probably something that all of us here has not really felt or seen today, right? But I think the general idea for me, it's more around having an impact on the person's life, in this hypothetical grandma, but without her actively utilizing the chain as in all of us users today, right? Today the user experience is as such. I pick a chain, pick a wallet, I go in, and then I discover that the applications have to connect my wallet, sign for gas, pay for gas, sign for transactions, and do all that, right? I think in 7 years, I think the world that we will get to, and I really believe this, right, is that a lot of these chain infrastructure is going to be abstracted away, right? So the average user is going to have a seamless application, whether it's for payments, can be cross-border, offline to offline, which I've seen some of these discussions happening today, where eventually you don't need to choose which chain you're on, sign for transactions, and to pay for gas in that way. I think that's not the way that we'll get to where we want to get to in 7 years, right? So I think really it's the user experience that's going to matter a lot. Some of these applications, like I mentioned, include payment, insurance. You start to have Oracle payouts, so that a lot of these things can be verified on chain. You start to see a lot of, I guess, even the way that we play games, right? There can be a blockchain element to it, but does not involve play to earn like we see today, or is in this format that we understand it to be today.
I have a scenario for you, which is my grandma basically won't realize she's using crypto, but she'll wake up and her phone is connected to the Helium network, right? RWA. That's where she gets her data. She wants to go visit her grandchildren, so she gets into a teleport and takes a ride. She then walks her dog, and that's a gamified experience even for her, and she doesn't realize it, but she's earning points or tokens by doing so. She then will maybe send some like pocket money to her granddaughter in Singapore, right? So all this is done through blockchain because it's cheaper and faster, and masked to her, so she won't realize she's doing it. She'll check the news and she'll read verified stories that have been verified via blockchain, so we know they're not written by an AI, but they're actually written by news stories she trusts. And then because she saw an article about saving the whales, she will then donate money to an organization that is saving the whales. And she can verify that those funds actually got there and didn't get stolen from someone else because they're all on the blockchain. She goes to see the doctor, her medical records are on chain. She goes to a concert like Sustaina Claus mentioned, and her ticket is an NFT. and she's a cool grandma, so she does that. And then she goes to bed and she tracks her sleep with another on-chain gamified app. So I think this is the future that is closer than we realize. And you can do a lot of this stuff now. I think the main difference will be that people won't realize they're using blockchain to do this. They'll just be doing these things naturally.
And then she'll be using the world's first bake cookies to earn app as well. I think that's the missing piece. Someone needs to launch that with haste.
Yeah, if I may jump in, we're talking about, we're all going to make it. And I want to get a little real world perspective here. And we may lose votes for this, but I want to bring up the fact that, we're not living in that world that's being described in 7 years. We're not living in that now. Our challenge is to make money if we can online right now, but there's a lot of indicators that are saying we have to get offline into the real world, into the DePIN world, the decentralized physical infrastructure network. And hopefully blockchain has decentralized that so that we are not controlled by one group. That's one point. But the other point, and was brought up by saving the whales, well, it's not just the whales, it's us. We're not just saving the whales, we're saving ourselves and our civilization from collapse. So I'm not trying to be a doomer, old man doomer here, but there is a thing called the Burning Man. I don't know if you've heard of it. It happens in Nevada every August. And it's a decentralized gathering that is so similar to blockchain behavior. It's incredible. But it's not crypto. The people involved are not crypto people. It's just that the structure of how they organize themselves every year in a meritocracy and in a governance system, which is so similar to what we propose in blockchain, like DAOs and so on. It's so similar as to be a real world example. And remember, this is out in the desert. You have to bring your water, you have to bring your food, and when that runs out, you don't have any water or food. So that's the world I'm trying to help people, and certainly the listeners and the viewers. We in Conscience Land and in the Blockchain for Good, what we're trying to do is prepare people with the DeFi tools, with the chain tools, with all of that stuff, which is being wonderfully done in the background. But we're trying to prepare them for their daily life, which I have to say, as an old person, I don't think 7 years from now, I'm going to be even having access to a supermarket to use my tokens. So I think that what we should really be doing is using the technology and learning about it now. It will recede into the background, and we as human beings and civilization and having fun and meeting people face to face, all of that will be done offline. So that's the sort of the grandma analogy is good to bring our minds to the people we love. And what will their position be in 7 years from now? What will our position be 7 years from now? Will we have to learn new technologies? Will AI obliterate our ability to make decisions? It's all up to us to move into a direction of real world preparation.
Amazing. So thank you so much for all your insights. And I totally agree as well. I think like in 7 years, maybe when we use blockchain, we won't even know that we are using it because it's so integrated into the real world. And that's something that grandma can easily adopt as well. So looking forward to, future progress of how blockchain technology evolves. Great. So with this, we are at the end of the 4 rounds of debate, or should I say debate turns into constructive discussion. Yeah. So what do you think, the audience? Do you think Team Chain or Team DeFi or Team Real World is leading the current race? Feel free to share in a live chat. Or you think actually this is a relay? Everyone plays a part. We are part of this big elephant. Feel free to type Team Relay as well. So happy to hear from you from the live chat. And with this, today we have heard from so much speakers on some alphas for blockchain and crypto. So with this, other than the speakers, we also have some alpha from Bybit Web3. So Emily, can you share what are some of the upcoming alpha that Bybit Web3 is going to announce? That'll be pretty interesting.
Okay, sure. Yeah. I just gonna wrap it up. So other than we achieved like 10 million wallet milestone, and there is other good news I want to share with you guys. So first, we expand more chains. So previously we only support like 10 chains, but now currently we support 25 chains. And at the end of this month, we're gonna expand the connection across 30 chains by the end of this month. Okay, so stay tuned. Now we support Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the EVM chains, and also Solana, of course, and Blast. Yeah, so there are so many things that you can just explore and check it out and play around with. And also our most popular products, which is IDO. So far, we already launched over 30 IDOs, and we're onboarding 1.4 million users through our IDOs. And now we're gonna revamp our IDOs. So IDO 2.0 is coming. Okay. Also, we have a new rollout products, which is Airdrop Arcade. We already draw over 3 million visitors and interest with our Airdrop Arcade, driving ecosystem growth across Solana, across Bitcoin, and ANDP and everything. Okay. And also recently, we launched the Bybit DEX Pro. I also showed a little bit about DEX Pro last month in the live stream. And I got so many positive feedbacks. That is a really, really cool product. So you can not just swap the tokens you want across the chains, that you can just trade with you do on the centralized exchange. We integrate with Birdeye and also trading view. So you can do some like analysis when you trade the meme coins, everything. So with DEX Pro, we treat meme seriously. Okay, so I think the main part is about the IDO 2.0. So I'm gonna just do a very quick introduction about the new products. It's not live yet. It will be live at the end of this month. So I'm just gonna give you a quick preview. Okay. All right, so we're gonna launch this at the end of this month, 28th. So within the the IDO 2.0, there are several rules that we upgraded. So first is rewarding loyalty. So the Bybit Web3 users with the higher IDO scores, you can enjoy the increased chances of winning. Because usually the IDO, the winning chance is a little bit low, around like 10% or something. But now we introduced the IDO scores. So the users with the higher scores, you will just enjoy the higher chance of winning. And how to boost your IDO scores. So you can boost your IDO scores through the Bybit Web3 wallet balance. You can do like more referrals and also the points. Okay, I really like points, or maybe like me, I'm not the point supporter. But points, but yeah, we already launched the Web3 points. That is something. So stay tuned. We're gonna support Bybit Web3 points in our IDO as well. And also the loyal IDO participants gain a higher winner rates. So it's all about fairness. And also we enhanced our user interface. Okay, you can just scroll down. It's more clear and user-friendly. Okay, and also we revamped our refund policy, which is very important. Okay, so the refund mechanism is for the users who they can claim the refund if the price dropped below the initial price. So with the refund ratio is based on the TGE conditions and token holdings. Okay, so there are two kind of the refunds. One is the full refund, one is partial refund. Yeah. So by this, we want to protect our users. And also we support the project token unlocking. For full refund, the entire fundraising amount unlocks after 1 month. For partial refund, the unlocking follows a vesting schedule. So there's some like update about the IDO 2.0. Okay. And now IDO, we support several chains, Ethereum, Mantle, and also Solana. So we have almost IDO for every week. We have a new IDO projects. And also we introduced the Web3 points, of course, and now we are giving away 50,000 Web3 points. So you can check out your app and integrate or open the new seed phrase wallet, and then you can just claim your Web3 points. Okay, I think that's it.
Great. Thank you so much, Emily, for sharing the alpha from Bybit Web3. So I think today we gained so many alpha. So I hope that everyone here, you learn more about crypto, about Web3, about DeFi as well. And just now I just checked the live chat. I think most of the audience agreed that actually everyone is a winner. Every team is a winner. So let's change the name Web3 Race to Web3 Relay for this live stream as well. So thank you so much everyone for participating. And I just want to remind everyone that there is currently an airdrop prize giveaway going on. So we are reaching nearly the end of the live stream, but maybe a final push because we are over 10,000 viewers. And if by some chance we can get to 15,000 viewers, you can get a bigger prize pool. But no worries if we don't hit the 15,000 viewers, because everyone will still get a chance to win $5,555 worth of tokens. So how do you participate and how can you sign up for that? Feel free to scroll to the bottom of this live stream page, and then you can actually sign up a Bybit Cloud wallet and participate in this live stream giveaway. All right, so thank you so much for joining us today, and also thank you to all the speakers for taking the time to join this live stream. And I think we all can agree that this is a Web3 relay, and we are all part of the same puzzle piece, and we all want to move blockchain ahead. Great, so thank you so much. And on behalf of also Blockchain for Good Alliance, we want to thank Bybit Web3 for this live stream, for the chance to co-host this. And just like all our partners here, Solana, Aptos, Bybit Web3, we all want to bring blockchain mainstream. So if you share our mission, feel free to feel free to go to blockchainforgood.xyz to learn more about this initiative, and also follow us on Twitter at @chainforgood. So thank you so much all the speakers and all the audience for joining us as well, and please look forward to more Bybit Web3 live stream, because every live stream Bybit have a lot of tokens giveaway and also a lot of alpha. So if you want to stay updated to what's the latest in Web3 and blockchain and make it, then you have to subscribe to Bybit Web3 live stream and join them every week. All right, so thank you so much for joining us, and hope you have a great day, and WAGMI. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. I hope we get a chance to talk again.